Today on Unity Motorsports Garage, we're going to talk about if modern EFI systems are a scam or the real thing. Stay tuned. I know that this video might be kind of controversial, but I think it's something that needs to be told. We're going to start out by looking at two carburetors. As you can see here, these are the Dominators that are on Mixed Up Boss. They are brand new, built by Allstate Carburetor in New York. But check this out. This is a Pro Stock Dominator from 1971. What do they have in common? As long as the gaskets in this carburetor are still good and accelerator pumps are still good, this carburetor will act in the same fashion as those, meaning it will still work even though it's 50 years old. So you might be wondering, what is my experience with standalone fuel injection systems? That's a good question. You have to remember that I'm a Gen X guy. I was born in an analog world and brought up into the digital world. And so I got to see the EFI world come of age, including aftermarket fuel injection units, dating back to the Holley projection unit. The Holley projection unit was pretty much based off of the GM TBI of the day, and it worked really well, but it was kind of finicky, and the power output never really did match the power of carburetors. So it pretty much went to the wayside. You know, you have to remember this was the early 1990s. EFI was just becoming standard equipment on OE passenger car vehicles. Fast forward almost 15, 20 years, you started having aftermarket companies get back into the market. You know, even units such as like this MSD unit right here. And while they work really well, and that is not my issue, my question becomes, we're living in a digital age, and we have seen what has happened in the digital world, if you will. I'm not saying that this is going to happen with aftermarket EFI. I'm saying that it's a possibility, and it's something that I think really needs to be talked about. As you know, Holley is pretty much the leading standard when it comes to fuel injection systems, carburetors, so on and so forth. A lot of people have adopted the Sniper system. There's other companies out there like FiTech, FuelTech, MSD, Fast, and the list goes on of aftermarket throttle body fuel injection systems. My concern is, since we're living in a digital age, once you purchase this said EFI system, fast forward 5-10 years down the road, you have this system on your car. Will it still be backed up by the manufacturer itself? And you may say, I don't know. Look at just what has happened with cell phones. Every year, cell phones are coming out, the new iPhone 12. It wasn't too long ago that if you had the iPhone 8, 7, you were high tech. And what happens is, in a carbureted world, as long as you can get the gaskets and the necessary components to rebuild that carburetor will be as good as long as the base plate is intact and everything is good. It's a one-time sale unit. But you must understand that we live in a consumer-driven market. So if we come out with a product today, what am I going to sell you tomorrow? And that's my question to these manufacturers. Are they selling you these products so that they will last, or so that in 10 years or 2 years or even 6 months or a year, when they come out with a new program, that they can X that model out and say, oh no, you need to upgrade to this model? And that is where my issue comes along with fuel injection systems, is that information is going to be proprietary to that company and that company alone. Unless someone has a hack to be able to go in there and modify the software, I don't see it being an upgradable feature that those particular companies will want to invest in time and money in upgrading old systems because they want to sell you a new system. I guess this video here only time will tell if I'm right or if I'm wrong. But I think it's important to talk about where we are in the technology world, that they want to drive us consumers to where we constantly have to buy and upgrade if we have problems. I am not anti-EFI. I think EFI is great and I think it has its points, but there's a reason why I went through the evolutionary curve of growing up with carburetors, getting involved with fuel injection, and going down that rabbit hole, and then I eventually came back to carburetors. You know why? Carburetors simply work. There's no other explanation for it. So, hey David, speaking of carburetors, don't we have something to show?
Yeah.
So I want to thank each and every one of you subscribers who have come on board, and to everyone who has purchased merchandise so far with the channel. With you buying merchandise, it helps David and myself continue doing what we're doing, actually, because we're pretty integrated in our channels.
And while you're thanking your channel subscribers, I need to thank mine as well. They've been very tolerant of me missing out weeks because I couldn't get to do stuff, and then suddenly there's a whole load of it. And I know some of you get frustrated. I mean, Andy and I right now are really pushed on our 318 project. Andy's been helping me out because I have spent a lot of time in hospital, right? So that means that he has not had time to do it either. So that's one of the things we got to look at. But let's focus on this giveaway, right? Deal of.
Absolutely. So you know that we're carb guys. There is no two bits about it. So for the month of August, from now until the end of August, anyone who purchased Unity Motorsports Garage merch, whether it be a banner or a hat or a combo, will be entered into a raffle to win a carburetor just like this right here, or pretty similar.
Yeah.
Whatever we have.
Now let's make a point of this is carburetor stuff on quick fuel carburetors. Now, when you go to the racetrack, you'll hear lots of people say the word Holly. How many of you have heard them say, I got a quick fuel carburetor or a QFT carb, right? Now, QFT is owned by Holly, but they do follow a slightly different philosophy is probably not the right word, but it might give them the the emphasis on slightly different things. And one of the things that we found about the QFT carburetors is that they're street carburetors with a vacuum secondary, like the 650s and 750s and that. We put them on the dyno, Andy, and
they're almost spot on every time.
They flat work, don't they?
They flat out work.
They work, right? And we're finding for the typical engine enthusiast that it's a very good choice for out of the box, bolted on the car and drive off. Right. Now, it may not be spot on, but
it's very close.
Our experience has been with the builds we do.
Yeah.
I'm going to emphasize that. I'm sure somebody can build an engine that it won't work on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right. You know, but with the builds we do, right? Oh, and I also have spoken to a guy that is an ex-pro stock engine builder. And in the time he's been retired, he's used a lot of these QFT carburetors. And he said, if you want a satisfied customer, boom.
There you go.
That's what you do, right? The least problematical and the most likely to work right out of the box. Now, we might be overstating the case, right? Because
I don't think so.
Well, we get good results with our Hollies, don't we?
We do.
But now, here's the thing. That what might be a problem for you guys, when Andy and I bolt a carburetor on, we don't give it a second thought. Oh, it needs this.
Yeah.
Because we've been brought up on carburetors. So you have to make that an allowance. Our opinion is coming from expert usage, experienced usage, right?
Right.
So what we're trying to do is to take our experience and demote it.
Right.
So that we're in the position of the guy that's a newcomer.
That's right.
The guy who only builds an engine every 5 years.
Right.
Whatever. So before you buy your next carburetor, look at the quick fuel carburetors and see what they've got to offer. Right?
Good bang for the buck.
It is, right? And that's not to say that the Holly isn't a great bang for the buck either, but it's an alternative.
And I'm also going to have a David Vizard Holly book that will be personalized and autographed by David and myself, and that will be in the carburetor box when you get it. So don't forget to go to merchantsofspeed.net to enter, buy those merch, and help us out so that we can send someone, the lucky someone, a good carburetor.
Yep. Oh, and when Andy autographs the book, he's going to autograph it at the front and where he's featured in the book.
Right.
Right. He'll autograph over it so that you see
my part of it.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Now back to your regular scheduled programming. I hope you got something from this video. I want to make it perfectly clear that I'm not anti-EFI because that is contrary to belief. I think it's very useful. I think it has its advantages and it also has its disadvantages. But I also want to inform you, the customer, of knowing that we're living in this digital age that will it still be supported 10 years from now or 5 years from now? It's just something to make you ask that question. I want you to leave it in the comments. Do you think that your current Sniper EFI system is still going to be supported with Holly coming out with the Sniper 2? Is that going to change anything on the ball game or not? So until next time, this is Andy from Unity Motorsports Garage. I will catch you later.